Hello everybody and welcome back to another one of those videos where I talk about updates on the Steam version of Dwarf Fortress coming from Toady1 and KitFox. And this is actually kind of a weird one because you might want to also go watch the KitFox video even though I'm doing commentary of it as well over here, purely because it is a more, how should I say, full overview of the thing. This is going to be me kind of talking over half of it, and if you want to watch me talk about the entire thing in detail, you can find that over on the KitFox channel. I'm not joking. It's me in two places. Weird, right? All right, let's dive in. So the first thing I really want to talk about with this video is it's going over a specific part of Dwarf Fortress that I actually barely use. I understand how the system works. I've used it enough to figure out how the system works, but I don't use it in the current game because I find it way too fiddly. And it's fiddly in the current game, it's fiddly in the way that Dwarf Fortress is fiddly. This being patrol routes. And I know a bunch of people in comments when I was talking about this in a previous video, a lot of people don't use this system. And you don't really need to. And part of the reason why it's so fiddly is you have to go into the patrol routes, you have to assign all of the routes, when it's genuinely just easier, and the dwarves are pretty efficient generally. It's generally easier to just let them train 24/7, turn off the training when they're not training, and then let them go out and do things. I think that this UI rework is going to make me use this because this is one of the biggest improvements to the game so far that I've actually seen. Of course, the game has plenty of other issues with like uniforms, where a dwarf can't have an axe equipped to go woodcutting and a pick equipped to go mining, so you can't have a woodcutter that's also a miner. Like conflicting problems like that that need work. But this is one of the examples of the Steam version genuinely removing tedium, or rather this UI overhaul, in my opinion, removing tedium. It is just so much more organized and spaced out and easy to understand than the current version is. Even as somebody who understands what the current UI does and how it looks, I have trouble doing the keystrokes in the correct order every time. There are certain things in Dwarf Fortress that I'm very, very adept at and very, very consistent at. And then there are parts of Dwarf Fortress where I am an absolute klutz and have no idea. So I think that this might be one of the best things that the Steam version is, and itch.io versions, of course, people have reminded me to mention that one, and the itch.io versions. I think that this is maybe one of the best things that it is doing, is removing tedium by just simply organizing UI elements that already existed. Another thing that this video shows off is them wearing uniforms. And a new feature that's being added here, which I think is very interesting, is if they do not have the uniform equipped, in the military screen, the icons show up as red. Once they have the items equipped, they show up as green. When they're going to equip the items, they show up as yellow. If this is in the current game, I couldn't tell you where it is. It might be, frankly, but just exposing that and making that super clear is going to be incredibly helpful. And it's going to help so much for things like ranged units that are a little bit more fiddly, where you don't know who has what gear, and just stuff like that. Also, shout outs to that pond turtle up there. It looks delicious. But just kind of wrapping up this little commentary here on my end and kind of concerns about the UI. One thing that really worries me is Tarn has been back and forth, and I need to talk to him about this directly, about whether or not sounds are going to be present in the Steam version. I know that we're getting a new, what's it called? Soundtrack, of course. But sounds are something that is still, air quotes, unconfirmed. So I really hope that when you click buttons in the UI, even if it's just a little tick or a little boop or something, like there needs to be some sort of feedback when you're clicking buttons, because watching this footage, the version that I have has no sound, but watching this footage, it's a little bit worrisome because some of the buttons have very little feedback when they're actually clicked on, and that's something that kind of concerns me a little bit from just looking in, because that might make I remember in earlier versions of Crusader Kings and such, before they had little buttons and feedback when you clicked on things, it made understanding what was actually a button very difficult. I actually had this problem with Hunter Call of the Wild in the original version of that because there was no UI feedback whatsoever when you clicked on a button. Just something that I kind of wanted to mention is something that I think is a little bit curious. But regardless, please watch the full video over on the KitFox channel because you'll hear my voice on it. And leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think of this overview video. I genuinely think that this is really cool. And maybe if you guys leave KitFox some good feedback, they'll bring me on again. Hey! But seriously, no, thank you for watching my video. And please go watch the official one as well. And thank you very much for supporting Dwarf Fortress. Thanks for supporting this channel. Over on my YouTube channel, I've got more Dwarf Fortress related videos than you could reasonably watch in a lifetime. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you in the next one.